Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the PSGL GT Top Tier season finale of the Season 2 here at the Trial Mountain Circuit. We join on board the outgoing Season 1 champion Hasnain in the Asahi Kessi Porsche Cayman GT4 as we get the cars ready to go qualifying. They're not quite qualifying just yet. My name is Webbo, back in the main comms box seat for the final time this season, and I hope you enjoyed Luke's commentary last week as he stood in for me, and my thanks go to him for that one. As the drivers are just warming up, we're looking forward to a season finale, and not only that, but a season decider as well. We do have AFA, who has one hand on the title. AFA there, P6 at the moment on your screen. AFA has one hand on the title with a 15-point lead, with 16 points available for a win. A potential 17, a maximum score tonight, with that, of course, point for fastest lap available to Antonio in second place only. He has a chance of winning, but AFA needs to non-score, and Antonio needs to take home at least a win if that's the situation. Of course, he could win it with a win plus fastest lap if AFA, I believe, if AFA got a single point finish tonight, but we're fairly unlikely with that scenario. So it is AFA in the lead of the championship with 4 wins, 3 further second places, and only 1 no score in round 2. The last time we were in the United States, funnily enough, in this season in round 2, that AFA has got that opportunity now to have a go. We'll just make the most of watching our outgoing Season 1 champion. There are still other positions to play for as well in the title chase. As I say, Antonio has 1 other win, but so does Mehdi in 3rd place. He is on 61 points, some 26 off the lead. And then we have Jamie in 4th place, who is only 10 points away from Mehdi in 3rd. Jamie looking to try and secure 4th or better tonight. Hasnain could potentially get himself up onto the top 4 as well, if he had the dream result of a win tonight and everybody above him failed to score. And then we've got S Moreno and Aura in 7th. Out there. Then H Racing Green in 8th could leapfrog Aura and potentially S Moreno tonight, and Lexus Enjoy in 9th could also get Racing Green HRG, who currently lies in 8th place. Joss is currently 10th. Then comes Sky Racer Maxim, Lum Racer, Sten Hanston, Mew Mew, and a number of drivers who have yet to really stamp their position on the championship so far. Solid Ninja Snake joins us tonight. Javi joins us, or Yavi, I think Javi. Then Stevo, all joining us tonight or very recently. We've got Ramirez there as well, joining us to race tonight, just to make up the numbers and to test their mettle against the best of the best that we have here in Tier 1 before we get underway. If you're joining us and you're new to GT Racing, do let me know if I can be of any assistance helping you out with what you need to know. I can give you the track briefing. Is around this Trial Mountain Circuit. We'll be having 29 laps, of which 7 laps must be completed on each tyre or more. The 2 tyres that are in use tonight are the medium and hard compounds. We have an evening race, so the temperatures will be dropping, the light levels will be dropping, and drivers have been advised to make sure that their screen settings are not too dark. That we have issues out there on track. So let's just check if anybody. We're just waiting in the pits. There's a Lego livery. I'm assuming that Solid Snake there, Solid Ninja Snake there, because of the Metal Gear livery on the back of the car. Let's see. I haven't seen any driver chat from anybody else. Anyway, so just to talk you through, so a minimum 7 laps on each tyre must be completed before they can change off the tyre. They must refuel to finish the race, of course, finishing on sufficient fuel to get underway. Then another challenge that the drivers will be having is that falling light conditions, falling grip levels, and of course tyres that reach the end of their limit. We have seen some two stoppers already this season, So we could end up with a similar setup happening tonight. If you're not new to us and you're here for a specific driver, that is absolutely perfect information for me as well. I'd love to know whose driver fans are here, and make sure before we get our qualifying session underway that you're following us at Premier Sim GL and at WebORed5 on Twitter. Make sure you have subscribed to the channel and you are liking the video tonight as well. So we are given the okay and the reset time for qualifying. We have 8 minutes of qualifying followed by a 29 lap race, and we can get ourselves underway. Well, we've got a reset for quali. No one on track until we get the call, so we'll just restart that one. I spoke too soon. I looked for the OK reset to quali and thought that was it, but sadly not. Be patient, of course, as well. As usual, I do always make this note. Be patient with the screen displays and the camera choice, particularly at the start of the race. Unfortunately, we are fixed with first-person camera view only. We can't have a trackside camera for the start of the race. I have to pick someone in the midfield to try and follow, and then we'll go out of the screen and back in again in time for the race proper to get underway. As I say, my name is Webbo. This is round 9, the final round of the season. As we, if you're late to the party, you'll know that. You won't necessarily know that AFA has one hand on the trophy, 15 points ahead of Antonio, with 16 for a win, 1 for a fastest lap. It is perfectly possible. VE Boeing says, what's my PSN? It's the same everywhere. WebORed5, WEBBORED and the number 5 at WebORed5 on Twitter. I think I dropped it in the description here as well, but I'm the same everywhere, PSN as well. But yeah, let me know if you find a new favourite tonight, if you've got any opinions on the strengths or weaknesses of any of the cars that we have on track with us. 8 minutes of qualifying is underway, and we'll join the first cars on track very shortly, and we'll get you on board and enjoying what the drivers are up to. It's definitely one of those gorgeous Porsche Caymans with the Aperture Laboratories Portal 2 reminiscent livery. Here is HRG first out on track, and we'll go inside the helmet. No, he's not first on track. I misspoke. Who have we got out there? We've got Antonio, who is deciding to sweep the track, but make sure he gets a nice clear run here through the Trial Mountain circuit. Some very difficult corners through this circuit, long late apexes, difficulty to get through. V Boeing remembers me from PSF 11. Yeah, indeed. That's a very good memory. This time last year I was doing PSF 11 on this very channel. I've got a few more races under my belt. Tonight marks my 289th broadcast, so hopefully you're in safe hands as we go into the dappled sunlight, usually through the pine forests on the way out of the tunnel into the final sector then of Trial Mountain. You see this giant redwood pines, but the setting sun will be a new factor for the drivers as they go over these crested corners, and again, like I say, long sweeping corners, difficult to connect your car up for the perfect traction. This one's banked, and you can get a nice little hook up on that yellow section on the inside, and then all that's left to do is one of the most difficult left and right sections through here as we brake heavily, and it's about carrying as much minimum speed as possible through here while not hitting those inside sausage curbs. You can often ride the banking on the inside of the final corner, but too much will launch your car and tip it over the over its axis, and you'll obviously lose a lot of power delivery. So we start the first flying lap then on board with championship contender Antonio and session host tonight. He's doing double duty for us. So again, over the apexes. There's not a lot of grip out there on this iconic Gran Turismo circuit that we're all, I'm sure, very pleased to have back with us, with some new little tweaks as well, some little Easter eggs on the track that we enjoy looking out for. So remember, 8 minutes of qualifying, it's a long lap, so really not very many opportunities here to maximise your setup, maximise your grip position for the race, but it is a 29 lap race, so plenty to fight for. If I do go quiet at any point, please forgive me. Still suffering a little bit after a COVID infection, so do bear with me if I suddenly go quiet. I'm trying to protect you from unpleasant sound effects, but trying to give you my best nonetheless. Welcome all new watchers to us, and thanks for that V Boeing. You are Chad Swan, which yeah, I remember you well, so great to have someone back in the audience. I don't know if you've tried Gran Turismo 7, Chad, but if you have, you'll know exactly what this track feels like out there. Say, anybody spotting anything that they'd like to comment on, please feel free. It's a collaboration tonight across the live chat, as much as I can keep an eye on it. If it gets too busy, I'm sure you'll forgive me for missing the odd comment here and there. So, Antonio trying to get himself up the grid as far as possible, riding that outside curb. It's an iconic circuit, but not without its difficulties, and sometimes off circuit cars can really slow down. Again, you see that inside tyre just hooking over the sausage curb upsets the car somewhat, so there's some time lost in the final sector for Antonio. Let's see what his first time is as he goes to cross the line. Fairly late start finish line here in the midst of the pit lane, and he gets a 1:58.472 and immediately returns to the pits. Out there we've got Mehdi, who puts in a 50. Does he put any time? No. Okay, he is half a second currently off the top time. Afa gets into P1 as he is on the championship as well, looking to run the tyres. I wonder if that time from Antonio was set on tyres he doesn't feel like completing the race on. The driver's mostly on medium tyres at the moment, as you can see on the bottom left of your screen. You can see front and rear axle denoted. They can split the axles, but they still have to use both sets of tyres, not necessarily at the same time. But you'll see the tyre wear characteristics. The medium and the hard tyres are the ones in operation tonight and in play. Remember, a minimum of 25% race distance, which tonight is 7 laps on each tyre and no fewer. Lexus Enjoyer does not drive a Lexus, he drives a Nissan. He's currently in 3rd position. Jamie's managed a 4th. He's on the medium tyres currently. HRG, his teammate, right behind him, although some distance, 1 second, 2 seconds almost, to the back behind Jamie. Then comes Season 1 champion Hasnain. He will hand over the mantle tonight, come what may, even if both front runners fail to score. Hasnain, unfortunately, not able to defend his title, but he's had very smart races in there. Steve-O I've not seen before with us here, and it's just on his lap at the moment. He'll be 7th, then comes Javi. Let's have a look at his car from the outside. Javi is in the red, white and black livery UXS Megane trophy. Not seen the Megane much so far, and there is a Megane trophy that you're not going to miss in a hurry. That Lego inspired livery, very nice, from Solid Ninja Snake. Ramirez in 10th position, and Antonio is marked as 11th, but he is in fact, I think, 2nd at the moment, as Mehdi goes into provisional pole and gets across the line there in the BMW M4. Again, another white, black and red, though slightly different to the other livery we saw. And do not adjust your sets. You will see a number of different Pokemon, very similar Pokemon livery cars out there on track, which is not, it doesn't always denote who is teammates. Remember, teams here in PSGL are denoted by their manufacturer, so you can have more than 2 cars, and you can have as few as 1 car per manufacturer-led team. Mehdi for the Prima team overall. He currently sits on top with a 1:58.195. We have 1 minute and 6 remaining in the session, and these are the final laps then for the drivers. The final 2 laps, I think. As the laps, nearly a 2-minute lap around here, which is why we have fewer laps in the race. Mehdi will join him on board as he goes through the cross hatchings on the hairpin at the end of the long straight. Got a southerly, south-facing wind of 2 meters per second tonight. final 2 corners for Mehdi. Can he defend that provisional pole? Will it get taken away by the car on the road in front of him at the moment in a similar looking livery? We need a bit more variety in our liveries, don't we? There you'll see the yellow chevrons that denote where the drivers have their penalties taken from them. No improvement from Mehdi as the laps are finishing, and now we're waiting the start of the race. It looks like it's going to be Mehdi from AFA, championship leader AFA, with Lexus Enjoyer third, and as I say, we'll be underway for you very soon. Let's see if I can do this really quickly and get back out. Yeah, maybe this will work. Let's try it, shall we? Waiting for the red lights then. Prima on the Mehdi on the outside, AFA on the inside. We'll join Lexus Enjoyer. No, we'll join Jamie from 5th place on the grid as they go, and we have dropped the clutch, and away we go for the start of our endurance race here. It looks like Mehdi sweeping to the inside to defend from Antonio, who's already going around the outside towards the first left-hander. And hanging around the inside, knowing that the next corner is a right-hander, and it's Mehdi who still manages to muscle his way into the start. Jamie up to 4th position as well, and challenging AFA here, but it's Antonio versus AFA. 2nd and 3rd positions where the championship will be decided tonight, and we look back on the race as looks like Lexus enjoying the distinct livery. Nissan Silver Spec R Aero has managed to get ahead of Jamie, and HRG paying a watching brief in the matching Aperture Laboratories car here in P6. Has named Season 1 championship champion in P7 currently, and Steve-O in 8th, as the drivers at the front of the grid are jostling for position, trying to get that slipstream. Mehdi moves to the left, tries to defend that slipstream at early doors, but it is 1, 2, 3, Mehdi, Antonio and AFA at the start of this session. We'll see them through the hairpin, and then I'll go back to trackside camera as much as possible as Antonio launches one down the inside, tries to make this move stick as early as possible, and through tries to come AFA. Mehdi hasn't given up on that first place yet, goes to the right, steals that position, and AFA down the inside up against his main championship, his only championship rival, steals that 2nd place, and it's not going well so far for Antonio. Plan A was definitely to get himself onto the front of this grid, and we'll rejoin the race from trackside camera now. There we go. So P1, Mehdi from AFA and Antonio. Then comes, we've got Lexus Enjoy there in the Nissan Silvia. Let me just get our screens reorganised again. It's absolute driving crazy how we have this problem. But Mehdi from AFA, from Antonio and Lexus Enjoy as they cross the line to finish lap 1. Medium tyres on the cars at this early stage. We'll go through the tyre selections officially shortly, but while AFA is hounding the back of Antonio, we are expecting AFA to be able to secure this championship today. All he needs is a single solitary point, regardless of any other finish positions, but nothing more than a non-score and a win. A non-score for AFA and a win for himself will secure the title for Antonio. 15 points to the deficit at this current time. Top 5 already starting to stretch their gap, as now AFA has the run that he was waiting for. You can see him glued onto the back of the diffuser coming off the back of that M4 as his teammate there tries to defend on the outside. AFA has got the slipstream, he's got the inside line. Corner will belong to AFA and into the lead, and not for the first time this season. AFA with a strong first lap. Mehdi now with the work to do to delay the advance of Antonio, who would love nothing more than to make this a 2-horse race for the championship. Of course, he'd love it if AFA was struggling, but the championship pressure will start to be applied now to AFA. He'll start to feel it in the cockpit. It will turn up as unexplained grip loss, as gusts of wind, as difficulties with his overall race strategy, unless he's a super cool customer. So there you see AFA in the front We've got lights ablaze. I don't know if those are on permanent pulsating pattern, but they're certainly flashing constantly on the Mercedes SLS AMG here on Antonio. Little tap of the brakes going through turn 1. It is a tremendously hard corner to get perfectly right every time, especially as the grip comes off those tyres. I'm just waiting to see if Antonio launches a move here, as Afa is trying to stretch that lead, but he's not been able to get beyond half a second or so from Mehdi. Sticking to the back of the M4. And in some respects, it's better to be the hunter in this long, fuel-limited endurance race setup we have. The more time you can spend lifting and coasting behind the runner in front, the more viable that extra lap, or even extra 2 laps can be, and that can make all the difference, because the cars have to stop for the amount of fuel that they place in the car. It's not equalised pit stops here. It is how much fuel they need at the end of the race and how much they have used during that race. So Antonio, without quite the top speed that we saw on Afa's M4, although maybe that was to do with exit of the previous corner. Top 3, Afa, Mehdi, Antonio. Next come Lexus and Enduro on the mediums. Let's just check Afa is definitely on the mediums. Yeah, medium tyres so far across the grid, as Jamie stretches his gap in 5th to HRG, his teammate, all on medium tyres. Stevo, the first driver with the Spotify liveried Jaguar F-Type. He's first car on hard tyres, still running with at the head of the next group, which includes Hasnane in the Cayman. Solid Ninja Snake there in the Lego liveried Megane Trophy. He's on hard tyres. So is Ramirez and Javi. So we've got a split of 2 strategies. We've got medium to hard, possibly a 2-stopper in play for the top 6 drivers, and the rest of them all together on the hard tyres, looking to go as deep into the race as they can before they fit the mediums, which they must use tonight. Tremendous showing this season so far from Afa. I'm sure he'd love to end this on a win as well. I'm making no promises, but I'm hoping to talk to him at the end of the race. BMW lead our manufacturer championship, and in fact they've well secured it on 167 points to the nearest Porsche team on 91. However, Mercedes only 1 point behind Porsche in 3rd place, so it's Porsche versus Mercedes for best of the rest in terms of the teams championship. Nissan are 5th, McLaren 4th, Nissan 5th on 53, 40 points, and then comes Audi, Dodge, Jaguar, Lexus and Renault at the back, because they've only performed 1 race so far in the championship, as I say. Squirrely, Antonio under braking in the 3rd sector. Signs that tyre wear may be making a difference. Infinitesimally small amount of additional wear on the Mercedes front right, I would say, versus the 2 cars in front of him. It's time enough to recover that for him. Remember, lap 7 is when the pit stop window will be open for these medium runners, and the hard runners currently must stop before lap 20, the end of lap 22, otherwise they will fall foul of the regulations. Understand that we're focusing, of course, on the front of the grid, but if nothing looks like it's going to happen, we will give some screen time to the rest of the battles down this race. Looks like we might have a bit of a connection issue, perhaps on Mehdi or on Afa, as the car appears a little bit less than smooth on the track. From their perspective, it'll be silky smooth, and it'll be everybody else that looks a little bit jerky, but from this perspective, it is the way it is. So you can see that a lot of dirt pickup on the inside of many of the long corners, as now the lead two swap places, and that looked almost orchestrated, didn't it? Mehdi perhaps being encouraged here by Afa to have his spell in the lead of the peloton, as it were, breaking the air barrier and chewing up the conditions as the championship contenders go side by side into the hairpin. I won't get too excited because it's very early on, as they will now battle their way through the final sector of the racetrack. Side by side they go. I think the advantage will be with Afa into the next right-hander, and he does manage to hang on to this position, but it's Mehdi now back in front of the race. Afa in second, leading the championship from Antonio, who needs nothing less than a win tonight, and he's relying on a poor performance from Afa. As things stand, I'm sure he wouldn't go to the trouble of booting him off the circuit. We do of course have stewards who will intervene if the race rules do not allow for that, but trusting in luck and trying to make sure that he puts whatever he can do into his own hands and secures the win tonight for Afa. So 1, 2, 3, Mehdi, Afa, Antonio, now with a 2-second gap to Lexus Enjoyer, who is alone with a 3+ second gap behind him to Jamie and HRG. In 6th, we have Hasnane leading the hard runners, now ahead of Steve-O, and then comes Ramirez some distance back now in this sketchy orange and white and black liveried Silvia. UXS livery. It's very detailed and enjoyable. Solid Ninja Snake. We'll say it's distinctive, shall we? That Lego livery, the Megan Trophy, and then next up the tail of the circuit in the 11th position is Javi. But still very much in contention here for the minor placings, not dropping too far off the back of the grid. For the sun to set here in Trial Mountain. I'm wondering if Lexus Enjoyer is actually catching this group now, starting to dial up the pace here, getting into the second phase on his medium tyre first stint. Fantastic camera angles, atmospheric visuals that the game offers us. Its issues, particularly that first choice of race camera angle, which drives me a little bit crazy. Grass, leaves being kicked up by the cars as they run slightly offline. And we finish up lap 6, start lap 7, fastest lap currently with the leader Mehdi at 58.136. And you can see 58.8, 58.9, 58.3, 58.6, his last, Antonio's last lap, sorry. Slightly better performance from Mehdi in the lead of this race as he tries to now stretch the gap to his teammate across Mark. So the BMW's 1-2, Mercedes number 3. Porsche's down in 5th and 6th, but if they finish together in the points, should be able to defend from Mercedes' challenge in the championship. This corner here, all important to get the best possible run down the very long straight that dips down, crests over. Let's see from the perspective of Afa as we blast into what is usually bright sunlight. It's golden hour sunset time at the moment though. So the trees in the background starting to fade away as the light levels diminish. Check in. Looks like roughly level amounts of tyre wear on Mehdi, Afa and Antonio so far. Antonio enjoying slightly better fuel economy in the Mercedes. Does he decide to go for an overcut as a result of that? That might be available to him. The pit stop window is now open for the medium runners. They have fulfilled their minimum criteria on that medium tyre. They can, and of course that is the top 6 drivers in the field. They can decide very early to go in. I think it might be too early to run the hard tyres to the end though. We wanted to get through to lap 10, 11 territory before they do that. The top 3 fairly stable at the moment. 1.3 second gap between first and second, half a second between second and third. Let's journey our way down the grid, see if we've got any tighter battles. Not so for Lexus Joy, the Italian, who is riding slightly there on the exit of the corner. Jamie in 5th, somewhat on his own, as is HRG, but I think we're going to have slightly tighter racing going on as we go back to 8th, 9th and 10th. Ramirez, Javi and Solid Snake. Solid Snake has dropped down a little bit now, either turning down the engine slightly for better fuel economy, or he suffered an issue as he slips down. As Javi has come up from 11th to 9th, Stevo has also dropped back down to the final position on the circuit. As things stand, Stevo, first time I've watched him, I think he's performed with us once previously, with Luke commentating. Yazan, good evening to you. And Antonio did earlier on say that he was out of the race, but he decided to show up and give us a finale to be proud of, and we're very grateful to Antonio for that. He's here to not only take part but also to host the session. In all likelihood, he's going to secure second in the championship tonight, but something problematic could befall Afa before the end of the race, and it could be that Antonio could wrest that off him. As we've said before, he needs a win, preferably a fastest lap to secure that. End of lap 9 is complete, so 9 down, 20 to go after, including this one, as the fastest lap still lies with our leader, Mehdi, at 1:58.136, and we have a French 1:23 for not for the first time this season. For the medium runners, the pit window is open. That's the top 6 runners on the track. Currently the hard runners have dropped to more than 8 seconds behind the top 6, but that tyre differential will be available to them later on in the race. They'll be lighter with fuel than the medium runners have been at the start. The fault in the game for me is that you are required to start on full tanks of fuel, brim to the absolute limit. So if you wanted a shorter stint, you're not going to gain anything from fuel usage from that point. It might pay more dividends here for the hard runners later on to run light and better tyres. To see how it works out. I'm not sure that anyone will quite have the speed it takes. Antonio has taken the second position from Afa now, so Antonio deciding now is a good time as any. He's probably into the hairpin after the long straight, so Afa, end of lap 9, has now managed to secure that second position, waiting for those first pit stops, and perhaps now that that fuel economy on the Mercedes will come to the fore. It's only a pixel or two's difference, though. I'm quite sure he's got an extra lap in the car just yet. He doesn't want to let Mehdi get away too far. His target is very clear: win or bust tonight. Afa could have any kind of a points finishing result and still take the title. So very different calculations going on in the minds of the drivers. They need to leave racing pride behind, particularly Afa needs to leave racing pride behind if it's going to get in the way of him securing the title. It's up to Antonio to do the work, really. Alfa can afford to finish 8th or further back potentially. Slipstream in operation on Alfa. Is that actually dropping his gap? It is, but it's not very much. I'm probably going to get about a 1/10.5, even though it's a super long straight. I'm going to gain about a 1/10.5 because, of course, these cars are very large on track. Not exactly the most aerodynamic things in the world. Despite those huge Gr.4 spoilers on the back of the car. So, those of you who are watching with us, let me know your pick for the podium. Let me know which 3 drivers and in which order you think they will finish tonight. I'm not going to give any kudos points if you predict that Alfa takes the title tonight. It's a pretty strong possibility. It's not over until the checker flag, of course. The car's now finishing lap 10. And curiously, on Gran Turismo, in case you're wondering, the lap counter at the top left of the screen is not for the lead driver, it is for the driver we are currently watching. So currently it's P3, that's why I didn't tick over until P3 crossed the line. It's a curiosity of Gran Turismo broadcast system. There are positives and negatives across different games, and for me that's one of the negatives. Just watching the leader to know for sure they won the final lap. Antonio 2.5 seconds then behind Mehdi, and Alfa not letting him get away. As good a place as any down this long back straight. Let's see, can Alfa make that gain? He's got a much better run now. Here is the slipstream in operation. Does he want that second position back, or is this a bump and run? Is this a bump draft, sorry? He does make contact with the back of the Pokemon liveried Mercedes AMG. In fact, he gains a lot of lift-off time there as the Mercedes braked later, coasted less on the way into the hairpin. We'll be looking for those first pit stops, I'm sure, from the medium runners very shortly. Very much in the window now. You can see the tyre wear bottom left of your screen. Don't want to let that get so low that they make a critical error. Some fairly large runoff areas here, and into the pits comes Alfa, in fact, just as I'm talking about it. So Alfa into the pits, the first of the medium runners to decide to make that pit stop, as Lexus Enjoyer and Jamie go past the pit lane. No major advantage or undercut available to 4th, 5th and 6th places, but they'll be hoping that their economy, either fuel or tyre economy later in the race, pays better dividends. They will have done their calculations to know how far they need to fill that tank before the race resumes. Alfa's still in the pits and has dropped behind the top 6. I fancy he may well end up behind Hasnain as well. That gap was only 27 seconds, could well be 30 plus in the pits there for Alfa. He's only just getting his tyres fitted. Such a long pit lane. Looks like Alfa then. What is his current sitting? In fact, he's seems to be coming back to the race in P9, 35 seconds, and he's not put a lot of fuel in there, and he's put racing soft tyres on, so a 2-stopper for Alfa. And not that Antonio and Mehdi will necessarily know this, but that could be an interesting opportunity then for those 2 drivers. They could decide to stay out an extra lap or 2 and run the hard tyres to the end. How many laps have the hard tyres run so far on their fuel, on their tyre economy? They're about halfway through their tyres, and they're 12 laps deep. So a 20-lap run does seem achievable for the hard tyre at the end of this race. It's a little way to go. I think that window is open to the drivers if they wanted to try it. As we've got Alfa then in 9th place on soft tyres and on the humpback, 36.8 seconds away from the lead at the moment, and catching hand over fist the Lego liveried Solid Ninja Snake McGann Trophy. Already getting past him. That's soft tyres versus used tyres as Mehdi and Antonio come in off the medium tyre. We'll be we see Lexus Enjoy, yes, in as well. So this will be a very hot outlap, but AFA must stop again. Now, what do Mehdi, Antonio, Lexus Enjoy do here? Jamie, I think, has gone past the pit lane and opening that opportunity to potentially use the hard tyre later. HRG, I think, is doing likewise. So let's get back to our erstwhile, well, certainly our current championship leader, AFA, on the soft tyres. Let's see what the other drivers have elected for. We'll find out very soon whether I'm sure the undercut will work for AFA because he's on the soft tyres. But we know he will have to stop again to fit the hards as he overtakes Ramirez. AFA gets the distance on the driver behind then on the way through into turn 1. As I say, I'm sure we'll grab that position. Antonio has gone for the hard tyres, so a clear 1 stop versus 2 stop strategy here. Antonio 6.5 seconds plus 3, 9.5 plus half a second, so about 10 seconds, 12 seconds back behind AFA is our main championship rival here. Antonio, only driver who could take that off, and it's Lexus Enjoyer who has got himself a leapfrog past Antonio on the soft tyres and has been able to get better grip and better heat generated into those tyres better than Antonio's hard tyres. Antonio himself managed to outdo Mehdi as well, so Antonio takes a net position from Mehdi with Lexus Enjoy taking both of them. Let's see where AFA is. He's on an absolute sprint now as he needs to gap the drivers he was challenging with at the front of the grid at the start of this race. And we also wait for the hard starters, Hasnain, Ramirez, Solid Ninja Snake has pitted, no, hard tyre for Solid Ninja Snake, Javi, all yet to pit on their tyres. Quick mention for P3 running Hasnain, your outgoing Season 1 champion. He will hand over that mantle as HRG has decided to pit. Jamie has not decided to pit, running those medium tyres very deep into the race indeed, almost to that half distance point, shy of 1 lap, shy of half a lap to make the half distance. HRG medium tyres at the moment, and AFA gets 3rd place back as he gets past HRG. And a new fastest lap of 57.295 for AFA, your current champion-elect. 15 points in front of Antonio in the championship. Very much on to secure what he needs out of this race, which is a single solitary point. Win it on equal points due to come back for his previous victories. It's not all done and dusted just yet. It just collides with the curb there. Pushing very hard now to try and maximise the use of the soft tyre. Don't put any fuel on board at all. So even though that was represented the shortest possible pit stop, that was still 38 seconds he lost in the pits without putting fuel on. AFA then slipstream behind Hasnain, and that, folks, is potentially the picture that you need to see to sum up the championship. That is AFA passing Season 1 champion Hasnain on track. Love to see a screen grab of that one, because that would be an appropriate image to see out this season if things go along to plan for current championship leader AFA. Jamie pits to complete the first pit stop rounds. AFA, we know, will pit again. What is the current gap then? Back to Antonio, 32 seconds to the lead. That's within Jamie's pit stop, so Antonio should pick up that place, and then we'll get an accurate representation of how far away he is to AFA's car. Hasnain pit, Solid Ninja Snake pit, both off that hard tyre now, and are going to go for a 15-lap run on the medium on lighter fuel to the finish than they have done, so it should be open to them. Shouldn't be too much by the way of problem. Now, has AFA decided, has he played a risky game, or has he done his homework? And he knows that he'd rather run to the end. Now he must stop before the end of lap 22 to use the minimum distance on the hard tyre. I don't think that'll be a problem for Affa. 17 seconds his gap to Antonio. Affa on the soft tyres. Antonio stopped to a finish, I do believe. I think he's got enough fuel there, over half a tank. Say 2/3 of a tank of fuel to see out the final half of this race. Should be comfortable now. It's all about tyre management, pace management, and watching that gap to the leader. He will now see, I think he'll now know that Affa is his target, and he needs to not let that gap grow too much beyond the 20-second mark, because Affa will be out on fresh tyres, not necessarily fast tyres, but certainly fresh tyres at the end of the race, fresher than the ones Antonio's using right now as well. Fuel probably not a big concern for Antonio, but he needs Affa to finish outside of the points or not finish at all. Lexus and Joy is showing an impressive run at the moment, but he's on the same strategy as Affa and has not nowhere near as far up the grid as championship leader at the moment. In front of him, Ramirez, still on the same hard tyres he started on, but I imagine peeling off into the pits now. Yeah, in he comes, hazard to blaze because of the fuel usage reaching its limitation now for him. So the current order, having stopped Affa and Lexus, but needing to stop again, and then pitted to a finish. Antonio in 3rd position as he passes Ramirez in the pits. Mehdi in 5th. Quite a distance actually away from Antonio, 4.3 seconds. Bear in mind that they were very close to one another at the start of this race. He's on the same strategy as Antonio, so some good speed on this early stint on the hards. Is it too good for Antonio? Stevo in 5th place on the soft tyres, will need to stop again, of course. Remember, minimum 7 laps on each of the medium and hard tyres tonight. Jamie in 6th place, a little bit on his own. The orange and blue Porsche Cayman GT4, his teammate behind him, HRG, running 7th at the moment. Season 1 champion, 8th Hasnay. Ramirez still yet to rejoin the race, with Solid Ninja Snake taking that 9th place off him. Javi getting through as well with the UXS livery Lagan Trophy 11. That is your order. We still have 11 runners in the race. Affa still has the fastest lap. You can see him chewing through those soft tyres, getting the best out of them with the lowest fuel to minimise his time on the hard tyre. I think that's the strategy tonight. So Antonio 21, nearly 22 seconds behind the leader Affa, who still has that pit stop to make. Is he managing that gap? Is he failing to do enough? Of course, we'll find out in the final 5 laps quite how it all works out. But a enthralling prospect. I'm sure both drivers would dearly love to finish at the front. You've got to say Antonio almost certainly got the extra incentive to finish on the front tonight, as much as Affa, I'm sure, would love to finish with a win. Let me know if you're watching on the live stream with us, which is your favourite livery you've seen tonight. Stevo in the pits then, getting that 2nd stop out of the way. 13 to go. Long laps here at Trial Mountain. The sun is setting, headlights are ablaze, so setting not particularly quickly, but you find here at Trial Mountain you get a lot of mist and fog descent, both dawn and dusk, and it's very much dusk conditions. We should be almost night race by the time we're done here tonight. Cars all spreading out somewhat, to say at this stage in the proceedings. Javi and Solid Ninja Snake the closest drivers to one another, so 1.6 seconds apart as things currently stand. This guy's running the mediums, almost half distance through this race. That's possible though. Heavy on fuel is Javi. I'm sure he's expecting to run fairly rich mix in the engine. wide out onto the marbles on the entry into the first of the tunnels. To say, it's a good looking car, that Megane Trophy. It's pretty well balanced as well. If you've got any insights watching with us, any comments about the inherent strengths and weaknesses, your opinions on the cars, what's really intriguing for me is that the next event, mini-season we have here at PSGL GT will be a single make championship, and I've been dying for something like this because honestly the amount of moaning drivers do about the strengths and weaknesses of their cars and how they get given a duff car or a bad top speed or a poor cornering, poor fuel economy, you name it. Of course drivers will moan. So if we go to a single make series, different liveries, I think that will really sort out the men from the boys in season 3 PSGL GT. I don't think haven't heard it confirmed yet or not whether it does constitute a full-on season, but it's definitely a Ferrari single make series that we have coming up for you at the 3rd week of November, just around the Thanksgiving point, I believe. But of course it will be Tuesday nights here at PSGL GT. We'll have a little break on Tuesday nights where you can enjoy watching back some of your favourite races through the season. I'd love to hear either on Twitter or drop a note in the chat or the description on this video what your favourite moments of the season have been. Bonus points if you pop a time code in there as well, always helps us out as we join Javi, the Argentinian, aboard that Megane. You can see now light conditions really dropping. There's no trackside lights on just yet. The cars have headlights, so they are able to pick out details. Drivers should know the track pretty well by now after this much racing. Let's go back to the front then and see exactly what the gaps are looking like. Affa has a 19-second lead as he pits for the second and final time. No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. He pits for the second and final time into the pits. Does Affa at the end of lap 18. I'm sure that will now be the hard tyres, as Antonio's 26 seconds as he was behind Affa will be able to gain that ground and resume the lead of the race, with Affa with it all to do to finish this one on top, where he would love to finish this championship on the top step. Affa, I'm sure, will be very happy with a win and finalising that second place, but a nice bonus, of course, would be the title of Season 2 champion. Affa will go past Antonio in the pits, I have no doubt. Sorry, the other way round. Antonio passes Affa in the pits. Lexus Enjoy still stays out at the moment on those soft tyres. He'll need to pit for fuel soon enough, and then Affa is just refuelling at this current time. Mehdi has passed Affa in the pits, heading through turns 1 and 2 now. Will Jamie also get past Affa? Let's go back on board Jamie and see where he comes. No, there goes Affa out of the pits in front. Affa, 28-second gap. That was a lot of fuel he had to put on board with 10 laps to go. 28 seconds to reclaim a podium or winning position on the track for Affa. 4th place will do for him though, of course, to secure the championship. So very interesting to see how far up the grid or otherwise he can get, because 28 seconds doesn't fully account. It would be 7 fewer than those, be 21 seconds by the time Lexus Enjoyer is pitted. Antonio in second is the net leader with a healthy lead ahead of Mehdi, and now Affa in the net 3rd position, because we're expecting Lexus Enjoyer in at the end of this lap, I do believe. Join the distinct driver in the Silvia. I don't think he's deliberately flashing the headlights. I think that's just a little bit of lag or bump effect on the circuit. Pitch and roll going into the bank corner. Love to see it. Grass kicked up as well. He decides to go on past the pit lane. His fuel tank has only gone to red just now, so not too concerned about fuel usage. Doesn't want to use the hard tyres too much, but one more lap will be healthy enough for him. Antonio needing to manage that tyre wear. Yazan says he thinks Mehdi's actually got it in the bag. Well, he's got a 6.2 second gap down to Antonio, so can't afford to let Antonio get too far away. You can definitely see a situation where Affa is going to come through here. Smart money may be on an Antonio Mehdi Affa podium order. Affa, of course, is on the hard tyres and should have similar amount of fuel to the two cars in front of him. Yazan says the Merc can't make it to the end on the fuel. Correct, exactly. Yeah, so he'll be doing the opposite of Mehdi. He'll be short stopping for a splash and dash, quick set of soft tyres. So good catch. He needs to fulfill his 7 laps on the hard tyre though, which I think he was lap 15 he came in, so it should be lap 22, 23 he will come in to swap onto soft tyres. Great spot from Yazan, thanks for that. Mehdi in second place, Affa in 4th, 30 seconds away from Lexus Enjoyer, but far fewer than that, 22 from Antonio. Jamie fueled to a finish as well, as should be Hasnain on the mediums. Although getting a fair amount of tyre wear, they're sparking through the turn before the tunnel, long straight. Hasnain has managed to leapfrog HRG. Lexus Enjoyer pits now off the soft tyres with 2% fuel remaining in the car. As the night descends in the mountains. Yazan saying that the SLS AMG struggles for fuel against the M4. The M4 is one of the best all-rounders for a non-Japanese car. Anyway, up there. Should be on for a bit of a challenge now between Solid Ninja Snake and Javi. Likewise, conventional one-stoppers for the majority of the field. Antonio and Affa looking for those 2 stops, as is our man Steve-O as well. So new to the league, Steve-O. There's Lexus Enjoyer onto the hard tyres to fulfill the minimum distance required. I expect to see Antonio win at the end of this lap then, or maybe slightly later, because he can run this one fairly long if he wants to. But if he wants to maximise the use of the soft tyres, it'll be with 6 to go. No more than 6 laps would be comfortable on the softs, I would guesstimate at this stage. In the advance on 6. Faithful audience. We got close to one another. Lexus Enjoyer is out of the pits on the hard tyre behind Hasnain on the mediums. Fresh tyres though, should be fairly equalised in performance, as the over half a tank of fuel sitting on the Nissan Silvia. Please ignore the junk in the live chat, wasn't the kind of feedback I was looking for, but it all helps on the metrics of the video, doesn't it? Could well see our season, well, it could definitely see our season 2 champion crown tonight. Affa's certainly doing what's required, if not getting himself a win. Well, finished the season with an all-important podium. 8 laps to go. It's currently Antonio Mehdi, Affa, Jamie Hasnain, Lexus Enjoyer, HRG, Solid Ninja Snake, and then bringing up the rear at the moment, Javi Ramirez and Steve-O. Good field compression though. No one has had any terrible mistakes or suffered great losses from the overall race pace, which you would expect end of a 9-race calendar. The track looking superb with this incidental lighting and litter trackside hoardings. It's great, honestly, in the nighttime effect. You can see the marbles just warning the drivers not to go too far offline. So what is Alfa's gap currently to Mehdi? It's 21.3 seconds. No, it isn't. It's 15.1. It's 21.3 to Antonio, who we expect to stop for soft tyres at the end and a little bit of fuel. So he won't have to put too much fuel on that second stop. In he comes then, Antonio, from the lead of the race. He should be fast at the end of the race as well. Should be really opening up to a spectacular finish. We'll have 7 laps on the soft tyres. Is that one too many? Perhaps. Just make sure. Mental arithmetic. I'm pretty sure that does fulfill his minimum time on the hard tyre as well for Antonio. Alfa will pass Antonio in the pits now, and then Antonio will have a fair amount of work to do. He'll hope to get out in front of Jamie so that his only target is Alfa in front. It says hard tyres on Antonio at the moment, and that's just what he is pitting off. No, Jamie, I think looks like he is going to pass him. A little bit of fuel is going to go in the car now, but not a lot. Is that medium tyres on Antonio, perhaps? He's dropped behind Lexus and Joya, and potentially HRG as well. Let's see, here comes Antonio out of the pits. Lexus and Joya would love to stay in front here, and he does manage to stay in front. Soft tyres, exactly what we expect then for Antonio. He's got 3.5, 5.5, that is 9, plus a further 9.3 then to Alfa, so an 18-second deficit. That's too much to ask for. Mehdi is in the lead of this one. He's got one of the first penalties I've seen on the cars so far as he goes down the long back straight. He will pay for that by being off throttle for 1 full second at the yellow chevrons before the start finish line. That of course loses you far more time than 1 second, because while you are off throttle, your rivals are fully on throttle at that point on the circuit. Still the fastest lap of the race lies with our championship leading Alfa, 56.752, set back all the way back on lap 14, his first lap, I believe, first complete lap on the soft tyres. And now all he's got to do is do battle with his own level of focus and concentration. Shouldn't be too much of a problem for him. I don't think he's going to have to lap anybody before the end of the race either. 6 laps to go, including this one, to crown our Season 2 champion. Frenchman Alfa. Jamie showing very well here in P3. He'd love to finish on the podium, but so would Hasnain, I'm sure, after suffering a lacklustre, you'd have to say, certainly first 2/3 of the season here after being crowned Season 1 champion. I'm sure he'd be the first to admit that these Group 4 cars are not necessarily his wheelhouse compared to Season 1. I don't know if he would have an opinion as to whether the field strength has field standards have got higher as we enter our second season. We certainly have bigger names on the circuit, but Hasnain is still muttered with fear as a driver name among the PlayStation Elite Gran Turismo drivers. Take nothing away, 4th or 5th place championship finish today will be certainly no shame for stalwart of PSGL GT, Hasnain, your Season 1 champion. Here is Antonio though, coming up behind Hasnain to make the first of his hoped for many passes to get himself back at the lead of this race. And he's got a good, strong exit. Not a lot, I don't imagine, Porsche Cayman is going to be able to do here with the additional traction coming out of the previous corner. That will mean that the time under VMAX and the slipstream effect will be multiplied greatly. Mercedes up to 4th then, 3.7 seconds away from a potential podium. Will he be going for even more than 3rd place tonight? Personal best in the 2nd sector as he uses that slipstream on the back of the Porsche Cayman. Final 5 laps of our race and final 5 laps of our second season. standings. Mehdi, Afa, Jamie, Antonio, we ride with. Hasnain has just passed. Then comes Alexis Enjoyer. 6th place, 31.5 seconds off the lead of the race. HRG in 7th. Solid Ninja Snake. Typically French yellow headlights on board. Then in 9th place, the white headlighted headlit, the Grand Trophy of Javi. Ramirez in 10th, and the solo Jaguar in the field at the moment of Stevo, bringing up the rear, but only 50.6 seconds away from the leader, which is a very strong showing here for one of his first races with us here in the top tier. Antonio has eaten up that gap to Jamie. And it looks like it will be a similar story. Jamie with good top speed, but it's nothing to rival the grip on the way out of the preceding corner there for the now P3 Antonio. 2nd in the championship, 3rd in today's race so far. And his next target, 11.8 seconds up the road, his main championship rival. Those soft tyres should be coming to the fore, should be in absolute perfect condition now for Antonio, but perhaps too much to do. I'm sure his pace will be strong, and I'm sure that Afa's pace will drop off towards the end of the race on the hard tyres, but I don't think it's sufficient to talk up any chance of a title winning position reversal here. Here for Mehdi on the hard tyres. 3 to go, including this one, plus this one that they're on now. Good solid performance from Mehdi. How does this track look on board now? Very brightly lit dashboard on various cars. Those strobe effects to the tunnel can't be much fun through that yellow lit tunnel. This tunnel's a lot more comfortable to drive through. The fastest lap and the extra bonus point still going with Afa at the moment. Almost pitch black as they come out of the tunnel. Contrast that with the normal situation coming out of that tunnel during bright sunlight. Reflective road signs. Unreadable, frankly. And these bright headlights catch them. Very smooth board, Mehdi. We are on for our French 1-2-3 for the first time this championship. It seemed like the French have got a stranglehold over PSGL GT this season, season 2. So first position, Mehdi, 10.4 seconds ahead of Afa in 2nd as they cross the line. Start lap 27. Antonio next in P3. Sure, he'd love the bonus point for fastest lap as well, but with temperatures dropping, the circuit could well be that the best the circuit has to offer has already passed him by. Jamie will have Hasnain trying to get that 4th place here. Hasnain on the medium, Jamie on the hards, but the mediums will run out ahead of the hards, as you would expect. Difficult to tell which cars are on the circuit now, operating in shadow. Into a tunnel, of course. tight battle here between Ramirez in 10th and Javi in 9th. Both UXS drivers. Same livery, different manufacturer, contributing for different teams tonight, but racing their cross-platform team name. Slipstream on the back of Javi Ramirez is getting. In fact, he's going to have a go. It's going to be an overtake between teammates. Down into the hairpin he goes, gets the overlap, gets underneath the car very nicely, effectively, into P9 then for Ramirez. I'm sure he'd like that. I'm sure he'd love to brag about that post-race with his mate Javi. Stevo's still in 11th place, but still hanging on to the tail lights here on the back of those two we were just watching. And then we've got Hasnain still chasing down Jamie, 1.0 seconds behind at the moment. We have 2 laps to go. Dancing around slightly for Hasnain. Losing grip, constantly correcting the car, just not getting the performance out of it that he was enjoying earlier on in the session. Antonio still only half used those soft tyres. He's got that gap to Alpha down to 4.1 seconds. The lap times he's put in recently, very, very good indeed, all in the 1:57s. The most recent lap 27 was the slowest on a 1:57.6. So he is eating the tarmac, distance to the car in front. I fear it's too little too late for Antonio, but he will push until the very end. There is absolutely no point giving up. He's pretty much now relying on mistakes, not just from Alpha, but also from Mehdi, to get the points he requires here. Alpha's still the fastest lap at 56.752, is by the order of about half a second faster than anything Antonio has done yet. I think the best out of those softs is probably passed it by Mehdi, out in the lead though by 10.2 seconds from who is ordinarily the most victorious driver and the most dominant so far. No mean feat from Mehdi tonight. I'm sure he would be very proud of his performance. He's started his final lap, as have the top 3. 4th and 5th are about to cross the line to start their final lap. Nobody's been lapped, so it should all finish in the correct order tonight. Change in the tunnel. The trackside camera there. Rear 3 drivers back of this one tonight, still glued together, quite as tightly as Jamie and Hasnain, but same. See if Hasnain can get a good exit of the all-important tunnel corner before the long straight. Can. I don't think he's going to catch though. Quickly tour back. Lexus Endure, HRG, Solid Ninja Snake, Ramirez and Javi and Stevo. Your final groupings, but coming up towards, certainly in the final sector, approaching the pit lane entry is Mehdi. Mehdi will pass that pit lane entry. He's got 2 corners to go to take a fabulous trial mountain circuit victory here in the day to night race, the 9th race of our championship. Mehdi gets himself the W tonight, and we'll celebrate that one, finishing the season in the most ideal situation. First place for Mehdi. AFA, this will confirm him as our Season 2 champion. AFA will cross the line in 2nd place, And congratulations to the Frenchman, Affa, with a fabulous run, podiuming every race bar one. Antonio took it to the finish, made Affa work for it till the very end, but Antonio secures third place with a strong drive. Unfortunately, just wasn't his night overall. Jamie in fourth will love to finish ahead of Season 1 champion Hasnain. Then comes Lexus Enjoyers, crossed the line already. HRG will secure seventh, fairly normal position for HRG here at seventh finish. Solid Ninja Snake, solid performance as well. In eighth place, Ramirez, Javi and Stevo will cross the line in that order. But your win tonight is Mehdi. And hopefully I will do my best to try and get Affa into our party, and we can have a quick chat and talk to our new season champion. That was Mehdi. Let's see if we can't get Affa in, if at all possible. Let me do my best for you. If you've got a question for our new champion, do drop it in the chat. We've really enjoyed having you with us. Please make sure that you drop by with us. Make sure that you've liked the video. Make sure, please, that you have subscribed to the channel, and make sure that you are following us on our socials. That is our at PremierSimGL and at WebORed5 for me. Yeah, let's hope we can get hold of Affa. I'd love to talk to him if we can. But yeah, fantastic finish there. Mehdi winning from Affa and Antonio. Strong performance from Jamie and Hasnain. Special mentions to those guys. HRG saying HRG saying he'd rather never see that track again. So I will do my best now to try and get a party started with our guys. If he can get there. Oh, looks like, have we got someone? We have got somewhere on his way. Here we go. Hopefully we will be able to speak to Affa very shortly, and maybe we can also invite Mehdi and see if we can get him to quickly chat with us. I think Affa's on his way. He is on his way. Excellent stuff. Let's just see if I can get Mehdi in as well. Let's just 1 second for me. Just check that audio setting as well, and we'll get on. We'll get to speak to you as quickly as possible. I can't grab Mehdi. We've probably held long enough on the stream at the moment, but yes, tremendous stuff, Afa. Afa, congratulations! You are our season 2 champion of PSGL GT. How does that feel tonight?
Thank you very much first for inviting me. And yeah, the first goal really was to have fun, drive with some friends, and yeah, I was just happy of my consistency throughout the season. And yeah, beating Antonio wasn't easy. I've got bad luck in only one round, so
Yeah.
yeah, it went pretty well.
Tremendous stuff. Tonight, I'm sure you wanted to finish it on a win, but you went for a slightly unusual two-stop strategy. How sort of mixed was that decision for you? Were you very committed to it, or did you think that maybe you could have gone for a one-stop?
I didn't consider one stop actually, and when I pitted, I think Mehdi saw how long the pit stop was, and he was very smart to switch the strategy.
Yeah.
It was kind of risky because he didn't know if the hards would last, and actually, I think it could have been close between those two strategies, but Mehdi drove better overall. So yeah, that made the difference as well.
Fabulous. So, how long have you been racing GT7, and um, uh, what other accomplishments have you managed to win so far?
Well, me and Mehdi, we come back from GT Sport.
Yep.
We race from there. So GT7 since the start of the game. And together we made it to, well, the events we made together. So 2021 and 2022 we did the World Tours. So
Sure.
for 2021 it was online, right, due to COVID.
Yeah.
We did the World Final there for manufacturers, not nations. And I did the Toyota Racing Cup as well,
Yep.
only me. There I got P7 overall. And yeah, 2022, sorry, we got to meet at Salzburg. So it was pretty cool. We did manufacturer there. And I'll be there for November at Monaco as
Oh,
well for
tremendous!
the
Well,
World
I'm
Final.
sure everybody watching will cheer you along. We hope you continue to do well, and it's been a pleasure
Thank you.
watching your season. It's been very, very impressive. I hope you have more competition next season. Will you be with us for the next Ferrari festival, or does that go against your manufacturer credentials?
I have to check really. I'm not sure. So I'll have to see for
Well,
that.
let's hope so. I think I'm in a similar position, but congratulations, Alf, and nonetheless, tremendous season, and yeah, great to see you as season 2 champion.
Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Well, let's speak with Mehdi, who joined us as well. Mehdi, winner that you managed to win out there tonight. How tough was it? You looked like you had it fairly comfortably on a one-stop strategy as well.
Yeah, well, as Finin said, I've noticed that the pit stop was really long, and I thought that it was maybe because he was refueling
Yeah.
at the maximum for the hard stints. That's what I was thinking, but then I saw that he was on the softs with about 40 liters, so I was like, oh, okay, the pit stop looks very long on this track for some reason.
Yeah, it was really long, wasn't
Uh,
it? Yeah, that pit lane is terrible.
yeah. I think I know the reason why, and honestly, that's stupid again, because like it's from polyphony basically. I think because for the World Tour at Salzburg, we had this track,
Hmm.
and the thing with the manufacturers is that we have to switch drivers in the pit.
Right.
And to be able to do that and to have enough time, they increase
Ah, okay.
the pit stop. So
Yeah.
we would have a lot of time to switch drivers without rushing, and yeah, and it looks like that they kept this this
Yeah.
pit stop on the official game for everyone.
Got it.
So yeah, we didn't even know about that because we didn't even test the the pit,
Yeah.
and yeah, we thought it would be a two-stop strategy, as we would have done like for the other races,
Yeah.
but that's what I plan to do. And then yeah, as I said, the pit is really long, so I changed my strategy to do the one stop instead, and it worked. Honestly, it worked. Like I had a lot of gap, even though I had to fuel save a little bit because I was one lap too low on fuel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to fuel save, and also with the tire wear on the hard tires, I was struggling in the last laps, and especially when the track becomes really dark. I
It
could
looked like an
almost
interesting
not.
challenge out there tonight as the light levels dropped. You got very reflective road signage, some
Yeah.
very bright tunnels as well. How did that feel? Was that your first day to night race competitively, or are you fairly used to that by now?
I've done only one night race, and it was only for the first official race for the manufacturers this year.
Right, right.
But yeah, it was the only time where I've done a night race.
Okay, so you've
But
got
yeah,
four.
that's it.
That's your fourth podium, second win of the season. You'll secure third place overall. How does
Yeah.
that rate for yourself? Are you happy with a 9 race season finishing like that? Were you hoping for more? Do you think you'll be back to try and secure season 3 title?
Well, to be honest, the season didn't really went really well.
Right.
I have to say because I wasn't even battling for the lead as I wanted to.
Hmm.
I lost it very early. Like for example, the first round I got disconnected.
Yep.
Then well, second round I won the race.
Yep.
Then for round, I'm not really sure about the results exactly, but then I remember that round four I was not there because I was in my holidays, so I couldn't race, and but yeah, it didn't really went really well. So yeah, but still got a P3. It's very good nonetheless.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I can be happy with that honestly. So yeah, could have
Excellent.
been better, but it's not too bad.
Good, good. Well, I'm glad that you're not finishing the season on a downer. You've certainly managed to win for the second time out there and beat Afa and Antonio on track, which has got to taste pretty sweet.
Yes, always.
Good stuff.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. I hope I have the pleasure of watching you guys tear around these circuits again, and yeah, we'll certainly be following your progress through the worlds as well. Congratulations, both of you. Tremendous season and a really enjoyable race tonight. So thanks to both Mehdi and of course your new season champion Afa, who have been sporting enough to stop by. We didn't really schedule them particularly, but they were kind enough to give us their time. Hopefully you've enjoyed the race tonight. Stay tuned on the channel. We will be back with more GT racing in a few weeks' time. But until next time, from me, Webbo, I will catch you on the next race day.